We chase money because it's so easy to wrap our heads around. And we chase it with the idea that it's the solution to all of our problems, even if it can solve some problems, but not the biggest ones. And so, if you don't have a good idea of what a good life looks like, it's
Hmm.
very easy to just say, a good life is one in which I have more money because it's so much easier to understand. Said when he was depressed and poor, he could tell himself, if only I had more money, all my problems would go away. Then he became rich and he was still depressed. And then he said he lost hope because he couldn't say, if only I had more money.
Hmm.
And so we chase money because it's so easy to wrap our heads around. And we chase it with the idea that it's the solution to all of our problems, even if it can solve some problems, but not the biggest ones. The hole that you're trying to fill, the psychological hole that you're trying to fill, is probably not going to be filled with money.
But the deeper thing to ask yourself is, what is the hole that money is trying to fill for
Yes.
me?
Yes.
And are there things that I can do right now in terms of redefining what it means in my 20s or my 60s to be a good friend or to have a good life or to take better care of myself that don't involve hitting myself over the head about
Right.
my financial life?
What's interesting is that if you looked at how the average middle class family lived in the 1950s and who we are aspiring to want to go back to, it is a quality of life that we would consider abject poverty today. I mean, the average middle class family house in the 1950s was about 800 square feet for two bedrooms for you and your four kids, no air conditioning, no washer and dryer, no go on down the list of what it was like back then. What is with finance is that it's not necessarily that these things will make you happier. If you were to have more money, it's not necessarily that you would be happier. And that when most people think, oh, if only I had a bigger house, then I'd be happy. The emotion that you're actually thinking about is not happiness, it's contentment. If I imagine myself in Hawaii with my kids next year, and I'm just envisioning that in my head, I can come up with this emotion inside and be like, oh, that would be great. But
Right.
actually, the emotion that I'm envisioning is being content with that. It's being in Hawaii and saying, this is enough. What actually happens to people if they do go to Hawaii with their kids is they're sitting on the beach and they say, if only I had stayed at the nicer hotel. If only we had stayed for a couple days longer. If only we had eaten at the nicer restaurant last night. How come those people got a better room? And so when you realize that what you're actually chasing is contentment, you're not chasing more, you're chasing just the first step
Yep.
is realizing that a lot of your money woes and a lot of what you're feeling in terms of falling behind and a
Yep.
lot of your gap between what you have and what you want is solely a factor of your expectations.